Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. If you are new here, I am Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. And I make a lot of videos talking about the cultural differences between New Zealand and Germany. And I talk a lot about what I find different and weird and interesting about the German culture. Recently, I've actually had a few messages from Germans who are planning on visiting New Zealand, and they've asked me if I could talk more about New Zealand culture and the social and cultural norms in New Zealand. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to make a video talking about regular everyday things that we do in New Zealand that are normal to us New Zealanders that Germans find really weird and confusing. Okay guys, so let's get into it. I'm actually going to be talking about 5 different points in this video. So point number 1, this is actually a little bit of a story time. I'm going to try and keep it short, but a lot of you know that I met my husband Rob back in 2009 when he was backpacking around New Zealand. So a couple of months after we met, Rob was hanging out at my house with his friend, his German friend, and I said to them, oh, do you guys want a tea or a coffee? And they both said that they wanted a tea. And then I said, oh, do you want your tea black or white? And they looked so confused. They kind of looked at each other, and I could kind of see they were trying to pretend they knew what I was talking about, but they actually didn't. And they both said, white, please. I was like, okay, and I poured milk into their tea. I will never forget their faces. They looked absolutely horrified, and I was like, oh, is everything all right? And they were like, oh, we don't really have milk in our tea in Germany. And I was like, oh, okay, in New Zealand we do. If you want a white tea, then you have milk in your tea. And they were like, oh, okay. I didn't realize it at the time, but not every country likes to have milk in their tea. It's actually a very British thing. New Zealand was a British colony, so it's not surprising that we have a lot of British habits. Okay, so moving on to something else that really throws Germans off, and I think that a lot of Germans would have gotten into really awkward situations for not understanding this Kiwi cultural norm. So not long after I arrived in Germany, one of Rob's friends invited us for a barbecue at his house to celebrate his birthday, and I couldn't speak German at the time, and I said to him, oh, do you want me to bring a plate? I just remember Rob and his friend looking at each other, and it was just such an awkward silence. And then his friend was trying to be polite and said, no, it's okay, I've actually got a lot of plates at home. And I was like, oh my gosh, he thought that I literally meant to bring a plate. And in New Zealand, to bring a plate, it means to bring some food. And it's just sort of part of our Kiwi culture. When, you know, we go and visit somebody, if we go to somebody's place for dinner, you always offer to bring something. And then Rob and his friend were like, okay, we know what you're talking about now, thank goodness. I don't know whether this is just a Kiwi thing, because I've never heard anyone in other English-speaking countries say, can I bring a plate? But maybe they do, so let me know if you're from another English-speaking country. Do you say that as well? Often in New Zealand, we'll have something called a potluck dinner, and it's just a really casual get-together where everybody brings a plate of food to contribute. And so someone might bring a salad, somebody might bring like a potato dish, and you know, someone might provide the meat. I can totally imagine if a German is in New Zealand and they are invited to a get-together and the host says, oh, can you bring a plate? A German would literally turn up with a plate, and that would be so funny and kind of awkward. Okay, so number 3 is something that my husband found so weird when he first saw this, and that is the pajamas that we wear in New Zealand. I've talked about the fact that a lot of New Zealand homes are really cold, and so we have to dress really warmly for bed. So a lot of New Zealanders love to wear these flannelette pajamas, like full flannelette pajamas, and guys like to wear them and girls like to wear them. We love to wear our flannelette pajamas in all sorts of different patterns and designs, stripes, polka dots, cartoon characters, flowers, just whatever. You can get flannelette pajamas in so many different designs and patterns, and I remember the first time that Rob saw me in my flannelette pajamas. They were like purple with polka dots all over them, and his German honesty really came out, and he said to me, those would have to be the most unsexy pajamas I've ever seen. And I was like, what? My flannelette pajamas? These are just normal pajamas. What are you talking about? Don't you wear them? And he was like, no. I was like, what do people wear in Germany? And he was like, well, not them. And I was so confused. And when I went to Germany, I realized that I couldn't find any really cool, like colourful flannelette pajamas in the shops. I was looking so hard. couldn't find any. So one of my friends here in Germany, she is a New Zealander and she's married to a German also. And one day she was telling me about how her husband was absolutely horrified when he saw her wearing these flannelette pajamas, and he told her how unsexy they were. And I was like, oh my goodness, same. And we were like, oh, this must be just a German thing. Like, Germans don't like these pajamas. And then we were like, but what do Germans wear to bed? Like, what do German women wear to bed if they don't wear flannelette pajamas? Do they dress like super sexy every night? I was so confused, and I just realized they're just not really a thing in Germany, the flannelette pajamas. So we thought it was just our husband that had a problem with these flannelette pajamas, but I think it's just more of a thing you don't wear in Germany. Okay, so number 4, this is definitely something that Germans find really weird about us Kiwis. So I've talked about the fact that New Zealanders are super friendly and just really open and welcoming and just really, really friendly to strangers, and it's just part of our culture. And I often talk about how the German mentality is just very reserved, especially with strangers. And so it's definitely not common for Germans to smile at strangers, let alone talk to them. So if you've ever been to a supermarket or a bank or a butcher or just anywhere that provides service in New Zealand, New Zealanders are just so open and so friendly and so chatty. Something my husband and his German friends found super weird when they first came to New Zealand. This took them a long time to get used to, and that is when they went to the supermarket and the supermarket checkout lady or man would just be really friendly and really chatty to them, and they'd ask them questions like, oh, what are you up to this weekend? Do you have any plans? And they were like, what's going on here?
What's for dinner tonight?
Looking for each other.
Lovely. How's your day been?
Good.
What have you been doing?
Cool.
You just finished school?
And Rob was like, what? Why do they want to know all of this? And it was almost like he thought the girls were trying to hit on him or something in the supermarket. It's just a regular, normal part of Kiwi culture. So at first, Rob just found this super weird. He thought it was just kind of a little bit too much and a little bit insincere. Then after a while, he really got used to it, and he liked how people were like really chatty and friendly, and you know, it just makes you feel good. So you can imagine a New Zealander coming to Germany and people are a lot more reserved, especially strangers. So it's like opposite ends of the spectrum. So Germans find it weird going to New Zealand and people being over friendly, and then New Zealanders find it weird coming to Germany and people being really like reserved and not wanting to chat. So it's just like cultural differences. Okay, so number 5, last but not least, something that Germans find super weird about us Kiwis is that we are just really relaxed in regards to shoes. In New Zealand, it is completely normal and acceptable to wear no shoes in the supermarket, for example. In Germany, you would just never see this. And we're just really relaxed about shoes. And in Germany, it's the complete opposite. So I remember getting in trouble so many times in Germany for not wearing my house shoes. Like, my in-laws would be onto me about not wearing my house shoes. In Germany, most people wear slippers inside, and so it's just a very German thing to enter a home and put on your slippers. And in New Zealand, we don't really wear them. We just wear bare feet or, you know, socks. But even in Germany, it's not even enough to just wear socks in the winter inside. They want you to wear slippers, Hausschuhe. It's just part of the German culture. And in New Zealand, it's not really part of our culture. Yeah, we do wear slippers sometimes, but I would say the majority of New Zealanders don't wear slippers. And in summertime, we just slap around with bare feet inside and outside. I'm not a person that wears bare feet all the time, but it's totally normal to just, like, if you have to quickly run and do something, like run down to your corner dairy, which is like a convenience store at the end of your street, just to like wear bare feet. No one cares. In Germany, you just wouldn't see this. Like, I can guarantee in Germany, if I go outside wearing bare feet, even if it's for like 2 minutes, like quickly taking my rubbish out to be collected, somebody will be walking past and they will see me and tell me like I should put on shoes, or they will just look at me like, you are crazy, and they always have to comment, they always have to say, where are your shoes, or why aren't you wearing shoes? And it always happens to me. I always get snapped, and they mean it in like a nice way. They're not trying to be like super rude or anything. They're just genuinely confused about the fact that you're not wearing shoes and want to know why. And I've talked about the fact that my kids, like in the summertime, sometimes they just don't feel like wearing shoes. Like we'll be out, I don't know, maybe at the river, and then we walk to the ice cream parlor or something, and my kids will like give me their shoes and I'll be walking without shoes. I can guarantee that there will be a German that will tell me off for my kids not wearing shoes, or tell me that they need to wear shoes because they're going to get a bee sting or they're going to get their foot cut or something like that. And I don't know, I guess I'm pretty relaxed in that way, and if my kids don't want to wear shoes sometimes, then I think it's okay. So I guess it just comes down to the fact that in Germany wearing shoes is something considered very important, and in New Zealand wearing shoes is not considered very important. So anyway guys, that is all I've got for this video today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel. So many of you who watch my videos are not actually subscribed, so if you would subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!